Thank you for watching this video. Today's lesson is going to be based on stances. Now, within Tai Chi, a lot of people focus very much on the hand forms and what are my hands supposed to be doing. That's actually the third thing that I want you to focus on as you're going through. Number one, most important thing within Tai Chi, breathing. So that is a video in and of itself, but this one we're going to talk about stances. This is probably one of the most common problems I see with students, and it's one of the most fundamental things that you need to do. If you're watching somebody doing a video, I always focus on their feet first. You can always tell somebody who understands what they're doing based on how their feet are moving. That's really where I want you to focus. So as you do these individual movements, start with the feet and work your way up the body. Don't worry about what the hands are doing, worry about where the feet positioning is going. And so the thing that you want to think about as you're going through these is one of weight shifting. And so within Tai Chi, the focus that we have is making sure that we have a smooth transition from weighting on the feet. So a couple things that you want to think about here in your stances is, if you're standing 50-50 as part of it, that's fine. If you shift your weight over and you move more of your weight to one side, we realize that we're not moving this leg. Okay, this is the leg we're going to move. So if I'm moving this leg, the first thing I need to do is shift my weight over so it's easier for me to be able to move this foot. So this is one of the fundamental principles that we talk about is, making sure that the weight is off the foot. So if I'm going to turn in this direction, what I first need to do is then go to shift here so that I can then shift this foot, bring this foot in, do whatever it is that I need to be able to do. One of the fundamental things that you want to think about in terms of stepping is controlling your weight. So there is a very simple weight flow that you're trying to accomplish here. You're not trying to just bring your foot up and set it down. So that is one of the biggest problems that we see with people in practicing, especially early on. So if you're focused on that weight shift and you're sinking your weight down into the ground as you shift your weight over, you're easily able to turn that foot and you're easily able to then flow the weight over into the other direction. So this is going to benefit you not only from your Tai Chi practice, but one of the examples that we use and that I'll talk about here is when you walk on ice. I'm in the northeast of section of the country, so ice is a problem when it gets colder. And so if you think about how you walk whenever you walk on ice, you don't necessarily just bring your foot forward and step harshly onto a sheet of ice. So if you think about walking on ice as you're going through in your Tai Chi practice, your weight flow will be much smoother, your form will be much better, and your feet positioning will be much better too as part of that. The other thing to think about is, and I use this example sometimes within classes, is if you're stepping your foot forward and you're bringing your foot down, you must be able to control the weight. So if you step your foot forward and your centrifugal, your inertia brings yourself forward, then you can't control and immediately bring it back. So anytime that you set your foot out, you should be able to easily bring it back without a major shift to your body. So that control is what you're driving for in your stepping practice. And stepping is one of those things that people think, at the very beginning, I get it, so I don't have to do this anymore. I still practice my stepping, and I've been doing this for over 30 years. So the stepping is one of those things that's fundamental. It keeps you grounded to, this is what's keeping you on the ground. And if you think in terms of practicing on a very smooth surface, that's great. I know where everything is. This one has a couple of small bumps on it, but if you're practicing, say, out in an uneven ground or on a hill, that's a great way to test whether or not your practice is smooth, because as you step forward, who knows, there might be a stick there, there may be a small hill there, there could be a groundhog hole or something like there. So you want to be able to be in complete control of your foot so that you could easily bring it back if you had to in doing that. So we think in terms of sometimes if there were an eggshell there, I want to set my foot down. I didn't crack the eggshell until I start to bring and push my weight forward and as I'm going forward. So you want to think in terms of control, flow, and then bring the weight forward on you, okay? So for those of you that are just starting out, you'll see these are our sort of classic martial arts shoes with this. Your whatever shoes you're comfortable in, wear those. I had one student once who swore she was really good in wearing high-heeled shoes as part of her practice. And if you're comfortable in the shoes, that's fine. What I would suggest is you wear something that is low and comfortable to the ground. You can practice, I have students that practice in their bare feet as part of it. It's really about the connection that you have with the ground. If you're on shoes that have a very high platform or very wide sole, if you're comfortable in walking with them, that's fine. My preference would be something like this, which is, again, keeping you a little bit more in contact with the ground as part of it. So your walking practice and stepping, sometimes you can just practice this, and I'll give you an example of what we talk about when we're practicing our stepping. So we're going to stand here and just from our natural stance as part of this. And I'm going to bring this leg forward. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to shift my weight in this direction, which will allow me to open this foot, okay? Or if I want to shift my weight in this direction to open this foot, so then I can shift back and then step forward. Now, in stepping, and so we'll do this foot forward, okay? First thing I want to do is I want to shift my weight here so I can open this foot, and then shift my weight across. Now, watch my foot here. I'm not going to just pick it up and set it down, right? That is what we're talking about not wanting to do. I want to be in complete control. So as I shift my weight over here, I'm going to bring it across the center line, and then I'm going to step it forward. Now, that heel, ball, toe component of stepping forward is what we're striving for here. So I'm in complete control, I'm letting my weight flow forward, and then I'm sinking down into my stance. Now, as you notice, I have room between my feet, my hips are stable and as a platform, and my shoulders are over top of them. I'm not leaning too far forward, I'm not off to one side, I am sinking as part of this. So now I'm in what we call a mountain climbing stance or a lunge stance. So now I'm going to bring the other foot forward. I'm going to do the exact same thing. First I need to bring the weight back so I can turn this foot out, and then I'm going to bring the weight forward, taking this other foot forward, stepping, bringing it down, touching heel, ball, toe, and then letting my weight flow forward. I am completely vertical, I'm completely comfortable in my movement, right? I'm not stepping it out and I'm off balance. I can set that foot out there, gently touch it down, and then let my weight flow into it. That stability, and this is a forward and backwards in mountain climbing stance, functions across all the different stance types, okay? If I'm moving into an empty stance, same thing. I should be in complete control so that I can immediately pull that foot back as part of it. In fact, an empty stance in and of itself is a stance where you're stable on one foot and you have the ability to kick. That's where that stance originates from. So if you can't control that weight flow, your kicks are going to be off, your balance is going to be off, you're really not going to get the full benefit that you're trying to accomplish out of this. So that's the forward and backwards, or forward. Now if I'm going to go backwards, I do the same thing, but I'm going to shift my weight here, I'm going to step back with the foot. Again, I'm stable, I'm upright, I touch, and then I let my weight flow the opposite way. So it goes from toe, ball, heel, back on the foot. But again, as if I were stepping on ice or as if I were just trying to crush the eggshell behind me, I need to let that weight flow gradually as I go back. I don't just set it back and drop. So you want to think in terms of that as you're stepping. Same thing works from the side to side. Shift my weight over, stepping out, touch toe, ball, heel, then let your weight flow and center. Then bring your weight over, and then you can pull the foot in. Heel, ball, toe, coming in. Toe, ball, heel, ball, toe, as you're going back through. So you're stepping through your weight. Again, completely in control as I step out, right? I can bring it back. I don't have to do any major shifting, right? If I step too far, now if you see where the center of my body is, I have to bring it all the way back here in that stepping. So I want to think in terms of step and then let the weight flow. So that's front, back, and side to side as part of this. Again, this is something that's going to benefit you beyond just your Tai Chi practice. If you're out and you actually walk in ice, if you're walking on an uneven ground and you set your foot out and you let your weight flow and all of a sudden your ankle starts to give out, it's very simple to sink down without twisting your ankle as part of that. So I credit a lot of not broken ankles walking in places, walking out in the woods where your foot actually goes to turn over. So practicing this, just going backwards and forwards several times in an area just so that you get that feeling of flow of the weight is something I highly recommend that you go through and do, and it is something that you want to practice on an ongoing basis. It will cover a wide variety of situations in life, so please practice as you go through. Thank you.